If you're like me, scrambling to try to figure out what to do for a final or a midterm, or like, you know, you're studying and then you realize, Edgar Allen Poe, completely missed that guy. Well, I'm here to help. The new Hulu show, Only Murders in the Building, Selena Gomez walked so that Edgar Allan Poe could run. Okay, so the short story by Edgar Allan Poe, to be honest, it is considered as one of the first detective stories. The main character is this guy named August Dupin. August Dupin? More like August Dupin. Except that he wasn't. He is actually amazing at deductive reasoning, so much so that when he first became friends with the narrator was just trying to figure out, you know, who this one actor was, and Dupin was able to figure out just like that with just working backward. Like, he talked about apples and stuff. How do you go from... So in this narrative we see just Dupin. Doop. He figures out what actor the narrator was talking about based off of just a couple of clues. Apple, cobblestone, whatever. That may sound like it's crazy, and it kind of is. He's kind of characterized as this supernaturally gifted guy at deductive reasoning. Sounds like Sherlock Holmes. I'm not gonna say nothing. Plagiarist. At one point a murder happens, and the narrator's like, yo. The narrator just tells Dupin that he should probably use his like supernatural skills to solve it. And it's kind of funny how Dupin never thought about doing it. If I possessed the power that this man has, I would not just live my life squandering and not using it. I would probably, you know, have a little fun. So that's what essentially what Dupin does. He goes to Rue Morgue to figure out what happened there, hence Murders in Rue Morgue. The newspaper article that they were reading essentially described a very brutal scene. It's a murder, so like that's kind of expected. But the entire 4th floor was trashed, and people left. Not people. Oh my God, they're dead. They didn't. I meant to say the victims. After getting killed, what was left of the victims, smart, was their personal possessions and gold and money, which is very weird because if you're gonna kill somebody, aren't you gonna kill somebody for their stuff? I guess unless it's out of passion or vengeance. If there's gold bars around, like that's like it. Like, you already committed one crime, what's another? I am not condoning looting the deceased. However, no, I should probably end that thought right there. But, okay, no. Moving on. So the bodies that were found, according to the article, were actually quite brutalized. There was a mother and a daughter. The mother's head was cut off, and the daughter was choked. Throats. Very interesting motif. The murderer is not a good murderer. I'm just gonna start with that. Murderer is a horrible murderer. First of all, you're gonna kill somebody, leave their money around like an idiot, and then you're gonna just like throw their bodies haphazardly. They didn't conceal the bodies well. Like, the mother was just thrown out the window. This is not funny. And the daughter was stuffed up a fireplace. This is not funny. But it's... Imagine being stuffed... I'm not good at this. Then we go on to the witnesses. Most of them heard a French voice, 2 voices. One was French and one was just indistinguishable. Which is crazy because I think French is indistinguishable. Dupin immediately comes to the scene of the crime and shows the police what's up. Because this guy, he solves what the police couldn't, which was how this murder got in. Apparently, there was no sign of forced entry. What was I saying? All the windows were locked except for one, which was open. The window's lock was broken and it shut from the outside and locked itself up again. Safe to assume the window Hogwarts itself. I have no other explanation for that, and I'm so sorry. This is where it gets really interesting and wonderful. He figures out how the killer got inside, which is through the window. He sees that the girl was choked with abnormally large hands, but it looked very, very human. There's like this animal-like a mess created by what looks like an animal, and incomprehensible speech. Remember when I said August Dupin, more like August Stupid? Because his deduction is that it wasn't a human, it was an orangutan. Orang-o-tang. He's not wrong, but it's just dumb. Edgar Allan Poe really thought that he was very funny with that, saying orang-o-tang. He really thought he did something. He really did. He did not. Only question left is like, why did this orangutan, this animal, kill these 2 people? Dupin surmised that it was probably because it was an act of self-defense, like out of fear. Dupin basically puts out a lost dog poster in the newspaper, but for an orangutan, in order to bait the owner. And the owner actually does come through. It was a sailor, a French sailor, got an orangutan from Asia, brought it back to Europe to sell it because that's the right thing to do. Just ran off after he was keeping him, climbed up the pole at Rue Morgue and into the 4th floor and murdered those people. And once Dupin was explaining that to the sailor just like, his heart fell into his ass. In essence, the sailor was the bystander to the entire situation, which is why his heart fell into his ass, because he explained that he was there to witness it all, and he was the French voice that said, "Oh my god," in French. Is that oh my god? I don't even know if that's oh my god. That's actually the conclusion of the story. The last part being the police being very disappointed and skeeved that this random dude solved the murders and they didn't, which sounds a lot like the police system in America in general. Poe was ahead of his time. This story, despite having murders in it, is very whimsical, which is not what I associate with Poe. Like, his whole shtick is a Raven. Baltimore Raven. I don't think they're doing well. Is there even a season go? I don't know sports.